ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at TexasMobileNotaryMindy.com. That's TX, MobileNotaryMindy.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, angry faithful of all ages, do not adjust your screen. You, in fact, see a full panel on your screen as we speak live for Nerd Sports episode 195. I am your host, Johnny Skelton. You are.
We do that at the end.
You are. I'm changing things up. You are.
I'm David Dickerman. God,
okay.
Don't do that.
You are.
Inform us.
I'm Chris Mountain Man Jacka.
And you are.
Prince Colin Skelton.
And we are Angry Me. Welcome. Now I'm going to turn things over to a more traditional pace. I can speak English, I promise.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, allegedly, to our esteemed producer, David Dickerman, for the Weird Sport of the Week. See, this is why I had us introduce ourselves, because you are just listed as Angry Me Production, Dave. If I go to our esteemed producer, David, and then you start speaking, they're going to be like, who's the retard?
Well,
I mean,
they need you could have warned us still.
Everybody's going to say that.
I could have warned you.
Right, but now they can put a name to it.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. You sent this one to me. You gave me the synopsis of it. It's Rice Tractor in Thailand racing. This is a souped up rice patty. This is awesome, honestly.
Dude, that's some redneck shit right there. That is the redneckest of redneck shit right there.
This is Asian redneck stuff, man.
100%. I could see some Dale Earnhardt yeehaw motherfucker out there absolutely tearing it up.
And hitting the wall.
Look at this dude. I mean, he's like, when you've got a drag race at 3 and you've got a jihad at 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he's good.
He's like, ah, la, 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 la. You know, he's running that strip at, screaming Allah Akbar.
Listen, he's got to get his training time in when he can.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay. To be fair, it's not Allah Akbar that he's screaming. It's probably Aloha Snack Bar. Let's be honest. You're in the Pacific Rim, so there we go.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've actually got quite a bit of news. Let me go. And David, don't you dare jump the shark. I will get to the football news in a minute.
Okay.
You have been warned.
Why are you doing that? I found out.
Go ahead.
I found out something. We need to get like those things for piano players. The tickers.
Metronome.
Apparently, if you go 93, the speed of 93 beats per minute, people actually listen. And it's scientifically fact
Look,
that
this show is scripted at an 8th grade reading level for a reason. Let's not overcomplicate the plumbing.
I feel like it's too advanced.
You're right. That's
That's too. I feel like you're stretching. I feel like
now you're
Chris.
Look, we can barely speak English. You're trying to add math into this? Come on.
There's ARs and FMs out there that are written at 8th grade reading level for a reason.
I'm saying.
I mean, come on.
I mean, we could try.
My brain works at a 5th grade reading level, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's not up there yet.
Yeah.
David's brain doesn't even work at 93 beats per minute, and he's gonna try to talk at 93 beats per minute. Come on.
No, my brain works like 70 miles per hour, but it just doesn't go through the mouth orifice.
The only thing on David that works at 93 beats a minute is his hand.
No, I could pass through a wall.
I mean.
All right, so the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes, it's starting to come into focus. He's the newest Japanese player that has made himself available for major league clubs. The deadline, or they're going to announce this on friggin' damn it, Wednesday. My brain just vapor locked for a second. This is coming from MLB.com. Byline is Thomas Harrigan at Harrigan MLB. With the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes in the home stretch, it appears the Japanese phenom has narrowed down his choices, according to a report from MLB Network insider John Heyman, not to be confused with the Hyman. The Dodgers, Padres, and Blue Jays are the 3 finalists to sign him. He began informing teams that were out of the running on Monday. The Yankees were among those clubs. That brings me so much joy. The Mets were also out. The Giants and the Rangers are out too, as were the Cubs, as per reports. The 8 aforementioned clubs that make up the list of teams known to have met in person with Sasaki, who was posted by the Chiba Lotte Marines of the Nippon Professional Baseball League on December 9th. Dodgers and Padres have long been considered frontrunners in the Sasaki sweepstakes. The Blue Jays, meanwhile, have newly emerged as a serious competitor to land him. This was according to The Atlantic on Monday, reporting that club officials hosted him in Toronto last week. Now, I've said this in the past. The West Coast is primarily almost the foregone conclusion landing spot for a lot of these Japanese stars that are coming out of the professional leagues there. Just because, one, it's
easier to get a boat ride there.
Oh, fuck, David. Okay. It's a lot easier to catch a flight. You're not on a plane for as long to get back home from the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast teams or even the Midwest teams. And, for whatever reason, those markets seem to be more appealing, especially like Los Angeles and Seattle. If you remember Ichiro Suzuki landed in Seattle. That's where he made his major league debut. The heavy Japanese influence of in the Pacific Northwest for a time there, at least. Nintendo of America was part owner of the Seattle Mariners. I think they might still be, but it's the Western market. West Coast market is very friendly to the Japanese players, so it's not too much outside their zone of their comfort zone. It's they have easier access to things like interpreters and things of that nature. So I probably see him landing with Seattle or LA, and not Seattle, but San Diego or LA. Just because, with the Blue Jays, yeah, it's like, here, come play in, Canada or whatever. One, it's an East Coast team for all intents and purposes. It's, I know that American League and National League both have the universal designated hitter now, but the National League
the National League style of baseball is more in line with the traditional Japanese, style of baseball. Pitchers are really taught to pitch to contact in the National League versus the American League, which favor heavily on the strikeout. The swing and miss type, pitchers. I don't know. You would see a lot of like Japanese players that reach a 3-2 count. I mean, they'll, the walk rate in Japan is very, very low because it's almost kind of viewed as dishonorable to walk a batter in the Japanese leagues. And you see that a lot with the Japanese pitchers that come over and play in America. Their walk rates are very, very low. And if their walk rates get above a certain percentage, they're usually not for, very long for the league anyway. So,
what do you think that kind of culture does when they get over here? I mean, are they surprised or what?
Well, it's definitely, it's a longer season over here. And in Japan, ball games that are played during the week, if they're tied after a certain time, I think it's like 8:00 at night, the game ends in a tie because people have to go to work the next day. I'm not kidding you. In Japan, a lot of the fields are straight dirt, right? And spitting is kind of frowned upon when you're on the field because they view baseball diamonds as sacred ground over there. You'll see people in the stands eating full-on bowls of ramen, music being played during at-bats, things of that nature. It's a very festive, very reverent kind of atmosphere over there. One of the things that's on my bucket list to do before I kick off of this planet is to go to Japan, visit it for a number of different reasons, and one of which is to go see a Japanese professional baseball game.
That would actually be very interesting.
Yeah, for me, just that national level of respect for the game itself. Yeah, it would be kind of refreshing.
I want to visit for the.
So I know we talk a lot about the professional side of things and the player side of things, but how do Japanese fans differ from American fans?
They really don't spend a lot of time catcalling the players. We got that one guy that chirps, chirping on TikTok.
Yeah.
Listening to the guy, it's hilarious. I've been known to razz players myself, but
dude,
some people stop doing that.
Well, you kind of have to read the room. So it's like,
I'm just saying because of the social kind of norms that they have, they're not all about being
they're
loud
very
and
honor
boisterous
driven. They're very honor driven. So it's you really don't see like in Japan, like just in general, right, with the public at large, you don't see a lot of people going out with their hair all unkempt and disheveled. They wear very clean clothes. Their clothes are a lot of times they're pressed. Every culture's got that seedy underground, but even them, when they step out, they're clean. They're shit together.
It's rude to wear too much perfume or cologne in public.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, thank God for that.
But you go to ball games over there, and people go for the game. That's what they are there to do. You hear a lot of people talking and things like that, and people cheering, and people, they're on their horns playing music, or they're shoving, food in their face or whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't see the belligerent fan like you see over here. You don't see somebody. You don't see somebody drunk by the third inning.
Yeah, I can see that.
I wonder how they do because their drinking is totally different, because they usually drink at like a little mobile bar.
Also, Japanese, at least what I've seen, Japanese people are a lot more cautious when they drink in public. And
and you have to. That was another thing that kind of weirded me out, is if you actually, drink and walk you're looked down upon. You're supposed to drink your
Okay.
drink and throw it in the trash because there's
Yeah,
no
okay, yeah. Littering is definitely frowned upon.
Oh yeah.
The rule about eating and stuff while you're in public is kind of weird because drinking in public is also a little bit frowned upon, but as long as you're cautious of your surroundings, people won't mind as much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an establishment like a bar or a restaurant, then yeah, fine. But you don't see people, attending like drift street races out there drinking like we do in public when we go to a NASCAR race. And I mean, over there, like when you're eating in a restaurant or you're eating in somebody's home, and it's polite. It's also it's actually encouraged to slurp your food because it tells the cook in the home, the one that prepared the meal, that you're enjoying their, that you're
There's
enjoying
actually
flavor.
it's actually respectful to when you don't finish your food. It shows that they fed you so much that you can't eat anymore.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different rules over there as far as cultural norms, but as far as the baseball going crowd, I mean,
Well, it's not just baseball. It's like
I'm talking specifically because Chris did field the question, Japanese baseball fans versus American baseball fans.
Yeah, I mean, they put so much love into everything they do, whether it be sports, cooking, anything.
Yeah, it's insane, and I'm there for the chaos, but and that's one of the reasons why I so desperately want to go to Japan to go watch a game. It's just because it's like, like even though like they get some of the players that are on the backside of their career or players that are trying to restart their career from American stars, American players that go over there and play, they are lauded as just giants over there. And
hey, you want me to get somebody from Japan to come talk? If she's available. It's hard to get a hold of her.
You should have warned us first, David. God. Anyways.
You are a constant source of disappointment to your mother and I.
God. Spare parts, bud. The sparest of parts.
I can see
Justin Verlander last week. He signed a 1-year deal, and he is going to become a San Francisco Giant. So he is leaving Houston again. Now, will he end up back in Houston by the trade deadline?
I'm sure.
Because at this point, I'm just kind of like, dude, just stay the fuck away. I mean, really, stay away. I mean, he's been desperately trying to reach that plateau of 300 wins, and it's like, yeah, all right, you've got a seat in Cooperstown already, dude. Just kind of calm your tits a little bit. But I get it. He wants that flashy patch on his glove like Roger Clemens got, but he's fixing to enter season number 20, right? I mean, he's been pitching for 19 years, going on 20. It's a 1-year deal worth $15 million. The guy's a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, right? To this day, I love the fact that the Cy Young Award was named after one of the greatest pitcher to ever play the game, Cy Young. Right, guy won he over 400 games, right? Won over 400 games. But one of the greatest miscarriages of justice is that these multiple Cy Young Award winners who have 0 no-hitters are considered legendary. But then when you talk about people like Nolan Ryan, who's got 7 no-hitters, never won a Cy Young Award. How is that? How is that right? It doesn't seem right to me.
That's
right?
weird.
I don't know. But yeah, so he is he'll be 42 next month. God, that really kind of makes me think, like, what the fuck have I been doing with my life?
Oh shit.
I'm sitting there going,
dude, what's even worse is when they talk about somebody that's retiring and they're younger than you. You're like, damn, really?
So and so's hanging up their cleats, and I'm like, how old was he? Like 38? Like, oh my god,
what the fuck? You son of a bitch.
Leagues, he skipped over AAA. He was promoted up from AA, and like he's been playing since he was 19. Like, how many World Series rings does this guy got? Oh, he's got 3.
Asshole.
You know?
It pisses me off.
It does, man. It's like
yes, I'm jealous. 100%. I know everybody out there is saying, he's just jealous. You're damn right I am.
Yeah, I mean, dude, get this. All right, so to put it into perspective, all right, Buster Posey. You remember Buster Posey? He was the longtime catcher for the. He's now the general manager, for the Giants, or no, he's the president of baseball operations for the San Francisco Giants. Mm-hmm. Yeah, think about that. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm like sitting there going, how long did Buster Posey play? And I'm like, damn, the dude's got like 2 rings. I'm just like,
killing me. Absolutely killing me.
I mean, like I consider myself blessed, and I'm very proud of my upbringing. You know, the oldest sibling of 4, grew up in a Navy household, yada yada yada. Joined the military, did my bit for God and country, whatever. But I look at these kids that are what?
Because so Darius texted me. He said his phone's jacking up, so that's why he's not. He said, "Crazy, Verlander is leaving again."
It's coming from the kid who said his internet. He didn't have shit internet, right?
No, he got a new phone, and so that's why.
That's a him problem, dude.
I'm sorry. Does that sounds like an excuse? That is not, by the way,
the
how
maximum
you get
effective range of an excuse, Darius, is 0 meters.
0 meters. That is not the way to get the top fan.
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, I'm gonna you two guys, Chris, David. I'm gonna need your mailing addresses texted to me before at the end of the evening tonight, because I am making something and I'm going to send it out to you guys.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just kind of saying. Okay. Let me see here. So the Giants rotation is looking like Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Justin Verlander, Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, Hayden Birdsong, Layden Raup. That's obviously more than the 5-man rotation, but those last 4 names even that I mentioned, those guys are going to be competing for spots going into spring training this year.
Nice.
And those are top prospects, right?
Also, speaking of top fan, Maria is here.
Maria. I'm going to clip that one part of that Brooks and Dunn song. Every time she comes into the room, I'm going to
put that on the soundboard. There you go.
No, because we would be copyrighted.
No, you're within that.
Not for that one spot. Not for that one spot.
5 seconds. Anyways, I got a guy on the phone that where we can talk about Japanese culture. Oh, we got to make it last like an hour or so.
I'm gonna take your phone. All right, go ahead, David. Bring him on.
All right.
David's gonna go old school and hold the phone up to the microphone.
That's some shit I would have done. It's literally called.
Literally, it's Brooks and Dunn. My Maria. That's the name of the song. You can look it up on Spotify.
It's a cover.
Yeah, it is a cover, but they made it a good song. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, Jason, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So the question was fielded by Mr. Xhaka that the difference between Japanese baseball fans versus the American baseball fan, just basically kind of the culture and the atmosphere at the game. And I was talking about how they kind of hold the game in a higher reverence, and there's a more of a decorum that's expected of the fans at the stadiums during the course of a game versus Americans that are usually drunk by the 3rd inning. So if you've got firsthand knowledge, please enlighten us.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've only ever been to one American Major League game. Yeah. But they're largely the biggest difference is that Americans are way more obnoxious. The Japanese are a lot more reserved, and there's how can I describe it? The decorum, I think, is probably there's a high level of decorum there. Like the entire fan base, all the audience, they all do like group chants, and like it's really rhythmic, kind of. It's almost a dance. You'll have a handful of people that get shit-faced during the game, but most of them are American.
We got a standard to uphold. I guess.
That tracks, exactly. We got a reputation we got to keep.
Well, I mean, you figure like there's a lot of Americans will go and watch the major league games in Japan. Mostly, you'll get a lot of them there, but they're mostly active duty service members because we have a lot of bases there on the mainland.
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking,
Yeah.
If you're in the Marines, you're not allowed to.
I mean,
Well, but again, okay, so
Case in point.
I'll say this: when I was stationed there, we were allowed to drink.
Well, it only takes one, and that's why Carl ruins it for everybody.
that's how you shut down an entire unit from being able to go out.
Right? When you become the subject of a safety brief, you've known you've gone too far.
Yeah.
1E4 bringing the new private out on the town. That's all it takes.
Right.
That is true. Oh God, there's been so many times.
Oh,
I mean, when the locals start screaming "No Kudingy, no Kudingy,"
I mean,
oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it was not fun for me to have to teach an intercultural relations class to teach sailors and Marines how to not be jackasses in a conformist society.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, if it were me, now please tell me that you took the opportunity to be a complete dickhead. Because that, if there was ever a time and a place to interject some old school mentality into this modern, softer military, that would have been the time to do it.
yeah.
Well, I'll give you a case in point. I usually ended that lecture with a statement that was somewhere along the lines of, I've been here for the better part of 10 years. This is my home. This is my people and my culture. Well, my culture now. If I'm out in town and I see you acting like a retard in my city that puts a bad light on Americans as a whole, I will kick the shit out of you.
Out fucking standing. Thank you so very much. We applaud you.
That's how you maintain standards.
That direct. Well, I'll give you an example, just as far as culture goes, because military bases all over the place out there, right? Well, I was stationed at the largest naval installation on mainland Japan, and I ran into a lieutenant commander that I actually worked for at the time, and she was yelling at this poor little high school kid, Japanese girl working at a kiosk. And she's doing the typical American that doesn't speak the language, that assumes that everybody should speak English. And she's holding a hat and she's going, "How much?" And then rubbing her fingers like it's money. "Is this hat?" And you ever catch yourself in the middle of saying something you know you shouldn't say, but the train's rolling, so you blow the whistle?
Yeah, that little corner in the back of your eye. That career just
And I looked at her, I said, "Ma'am, she's not stupid. She's not deaf either. She just doesn't speak English." And this commander looks at me without missing a beat, and she was flabbergasted by it. She said, "Well, I can't believe being this close to an American military installation. She doesn't speak any English." And I was like, "Bitch, how long have you been stationed here? 4 years? You've been stationed here for 4 years, and you don't know how to speak Kono." Yeah, I was like, "You've been stationed here for 4 years, and your dumbass can't look at this kid and ask, 'Konoboshi ga ikura?'" It's like, "How much is this hat?" You know?
There's it's people like that God tore down the Tower of Babel. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like, even if you can't do the whole sentence, you should be able to get enough of it out to make your point.
I mean, especially in today's day and age with the technology we got with the translating earbud,
Right? Google
or even
Translate.
Google
Like, use
Translate.
your phone.
Like, come on.
Well, in that officer's defense, I learned the language for a very specific reason. I was highly motivated to learn the language. And my motivation was that my wife was hot.
Hey, listen,
you know
that'll
what?
do it every time.
Hey.
That's the best motivation in the world.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I first met her, she didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak any Japanese. But holy shit, she was hot.
There you go. Exactly.
If you ask David, he will tell you. I told him about the first time I saw my wife. First time I laid eyes on her, I was with a friend of mine. And when she walked in and I looked at her, I grabbed my friend. I was shaking her by the arm and said, Mariko, because my friend's name was Mariko. And she says, what? And I pointed at her and said, I don't know who that is, but I want one.
Be like, wrap her up, get her to go. What do I got to do?
And they started talking to each other, and I thought to myself, "Oh shit, she knows her." I was so embarrassed. And my friend Michael looked at me and said, "No, remember I told you I called my friend. I thought you would like her. This is her." And I went,
You're the best friend
"She
ever.
knows."
You are the
Later on, when
you're the real wingman.
Right? It's like, fellas, take note. That's how you wingman.
people were seeing her, they would look at my wife and then they would look at me and go, how the fuck did you get her? And I would say, I don't know. And then they would say, you know, she could do way better than you, right? And I said, well, yeah, I know that, but please don't tell her.
I tell people that all the time. I tell my wife that all the time. She's like, I'm like, babe, I'm hitting way above my average. You know, and it's just,
I tell you that.
you know, so I'm like, yeah.
I told her, I've told her many times over the years, I was like, Sarah, you realize that if reincarnation is a thing, that proves two things. And she says, what? And I said, first, it proves that in a past life, whatever you did, you were a horrible human being.
You fucked up bad. You were like negative, Carlos. You were
Very dishonorable in the past life.
Like, damn, baby, I don't know what you did in your past life, but you fucked it.
Hitler in the past life?
She broke the samurai code back in June.
I'm thinking in a past life, I must have cured cancer or something.
Like,
'Cause I got that out of her.
No, what it is, you brought fire down to man. You were Prometheus in a past life, weren't you?
right there you go.
I'm telling you, I was so lucky. Periodically, I'll look at my wife and go, I'm so sorry you got stuck with me. Because even now, when our daughter does something stupid, my wife will look at her and then she looks at me and goes, "Your half."
That's outstanding. Yeah. Oh, that's outstanding. Yeah.
But let me steer it back towards culture for you. I'll give you another example of a drastic difference in Japanese and American culture.
Okay.
So Jazz is 13. She's in 7th grade. She's doing algebra. And she just moved to the U.S. this past April. And when we were meeting the teachers, we're talking to her algebra teacher who decides to point out to my wife before we leave. He says, oh, by the way, make sure that you get her either this model or this model of the scientific calculator. And Takako looked at him like she was confused and says, calculator? Why? And he says, well, it's for algebra. And she goes, why? It's like, well, she needs the calculator to be good at algebra or to learn algebra. And she goes, no, she doesn't. If you want her to be good at using a calculator, have her use a calculator. But if you want her to be good at algebra, make her do the math. Is it a calculator class or is it an algebra class?
Yeah.
this guy's jaw is just hanging open, and I'm sitting here like, well, she's not wrong. But and here's the thing when I'm talking about with the culture, like if you think about the last time you did complex mathematics like algebra, geometry, calculus, any of those things, if you were asked to do it today, do you think you could do it?
Oh God, no.
No.
That's the thing. My wife can still
Take
do
my
algebra
shoes off.
geometry.
At 20, you know.
Yeah,
So
she can still do algebra, geometry, calculus, and trigonometry, but she can do that kind of complex math in her head. I can't do long division because I went to an American public school.
And you wonder why and how we ended up on the moon
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, freedom fractions for life.
Well, I mean,
But I mean, all joking aside, if you look back at where we were in standards of education back in the 1950s and 60s when we went to the moon, we were in the top 3 to 5 in the world as far as
Yeah.
academics.
Yeah, it's when we
Well,
talk
now, where are we at now?
Yeah.
back when we actually
Like
had
now, not only now in American culture, not only can teenagers still not figure out how to do fucking long division or algebra, but they don't know what fucking bathroom they're supposed to use.
they can't even read.
And we had to put a warning label on laundry detergent. Do not eat this.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think they had to do that in Japan?
Yeah, no, probably not. I mean,
Ooh.
and the people that probably were missing fingers because the Yakuza were like, no, we're not going to have that. So,
Well, I think they kind of looked at it in terms of Darwin's theory.
You know, they have a job. They have a job opening in the National Archives, and it's $130,000 job. Guess what? Job is reading cursive.
No.
Reading curse.
Oh my fucking. Oh, Jesus Christ. But so back to the culture thing too. The biggest, I guess you can call it the cornerstone of what makes their culture so much different than ours is theirs is a very conformist kind of society. And an example of that would be is if you get the sniffles or a cough, you wear a mask when you go out in public just to be courteous. If you're on public transit, you don't use your phone. You're not talking loudly. You don't listen to music at a volume where people sitting next to you can hear it. You know, nobody speaks. You're quiet.
yeah, it's very a very considerate type culture, and yeah. You know, the thing that and I know, you can tell me if this is true or not. I've seen in numerous places where Japanese school kids clean up the school after school gets out. And
but it's not as over the top as the videos will make you think. Like they do still have groundskeepers, janitorial staff, but largely the kids will they clean the classroom at the beginning of the day, and then they clean the common areas towards the end of the day so that it's ready for the next day. Or I guess the easiest one would be if you're in the karate club, for example. The first class that comes in, they use the dojo. At the end of the class, they clean all the mats and the bathrooms for the next class that comes in. And regardless of their rank, be they white belt or black belt, they all do it because the way they see it is nobody is above cleanliness.
Yeah. Yeah. See, to me, that's awesome. You know, I mean, you try to push that. Well, I just say you push. You try to impress that upon, you know, kids here, and they'll look at you like you're retarded.
Yeah, they'll actually be offended. Like, why should I have to do it? That's what we have a janitor for.
Yeah, like I take away from his job. What's he going to do? Make sure it's done right and lock up the building. I don't know, but
It's pretty.
That's just the
Well, they're like that with sexuality in schools too. If you show up late to school, if you're like a minute late, they lock you out of the school.
Yeah.
hey, I would love that. You know, like
I think they actually have to do that now because of the basic fact of, you know, school shooters. They're preventing school shooters.
just because you know you have some kids that are taking the initiative to bring the wireless hole punchers to school doesn't, you know, don't shame them, David. I mean, come on, what are you talking about? But
I'll tell you, like the only there don't get me wrong, there's things in their culture that make my head spin, but there's more about their culture that I love than there is that I don't. That's why for me being there as a class citizen, I would still be happier to live there for the rest of my life than I would here. The only thing I would miss is being able to carry a gun.
Man,
I'm telling you, I love doing that. Just saying.
Yeah.
I just like having $5,000 on my hip.
Well, I think it took it took my daughter a little bit of time to get used to seeing me pick up a pistol and throw it in my waistband before leaving the house with her every time we go somewhere.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand that difference in our culture yet, that, you know, people will come up and stab or kill you to take your shoes. They don't do that in Japan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
Although I'm not saying that they are not without their mental illness, because it's like one of the number one places in the world. It's almost the capital of suicide in the world, because remember I was telling you about being a conformist society. These people out there will literally work themselves to death, or work themselves to the point where they can't deal with life anymore and kill themselves.
Is Japan and China the same thing where they have to have buildings with nets on the outside?
No.
Oh, okay. Then it's just China.
no, in China they do
a
it.
lot of that.
They want to stop working. You know, like you know,
Yeah,
they're
like I
tired
said,
of
they have
working
pieces of the
35
building
cents an hour
falling
there.
off too.
Yeah. But hey, you know, man, David, thank you for bringing him on. Thank you for coming on and
that was
in the air. That was
awesome.
That was fun.
Oh, no worries. I love talking all things Japan. It's a magical place. I highly recommend it to anybody wanting to travel.
I told my wife, I said, you know, it's on the bucket list, but if we go, we're going to have to budget for $1,000 at least just for spending money.
Depending on what your depending on what your personal interests are, I would recommend different parts of Japan to go to.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you know, I definitely want to hit up a lot of the ramen shops. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that definitely would be going for the food.
There are districts and that are famous in Japan for different types of cuisine. Like there's one prefecture that's world renowned for their ramen, another one that's known for their sushi, others known for tonkatsu. There's even a place that's really famous for their mochi. And I mean, and these are foods that you can get anywhere in Japan, but depending on which area you're in, it's taken a lot more seriously.
Yeah. And I looked at my wife. I said, this is going to be the part that's going to make you wince. And she goes, what? I said, there's things in Japan that I want to buy. She goes, well, we'll have to pay taxes on it when we get back to US. I was like, no, because we'll have it shipped home from there. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, the retro gaming stores there where you can buy all the retro consoles. She's like,
oh yeah, that's okay. So that would be a prefecture Tokyo that you're looking for. It's called Akihabara.
Yes, the videos that come out that there's a guy that goes around and he hits all of those spots, and just the rare like one-offs that he finds. I'm just like, bro, like, I don't want to play them. Yeah. I just want to have them. You know?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Daughter
belongs in a museum.
From that area, she's they call it neo goth, and it's not like it's not like the Edward Scissorhands or Beetlejuice kind of goth. You'd have to look up pictures on Google. If you put in Tokyo neo goth, you'll see the style. It's actually pretty neat.
Yeah,
especially if you have a young teenage daughter.
Yeah. Well, do you want to stick around for the for our NFL segment?
I wouldn't have anything to contribute. The only game I ever watch is the Army Navy game.
Brother, you and I speak a lot of the same language. And I'm only going to assume that you were happy with the outcome this year.
Oh yes, I certainly was.
See, just by that admission alone, the doors don't
hang up on him. Hang up on him.
Yeah. So the final score at the end of those games, notwithstanding, honestly, for me, it's all about the banter between my brothers and sisters that wear green. You know, because for me, that's where all the fun is. Well, like for the whole week leading up to that game, you'd never know that we were friends.
Well, let's put it this way. My dad spent 20 years in the Navy. My dad was an OSC. He retired in E7 from the Navy. I joined the Army. We don't fucking talk about the game. We don't talk to each other leading up to the game. We don't talk to each other after the game for a couple of days.
Oh my.
Because the shit talk got so real one year, right? Like I mean, it got bad. Like it almost came to blows, right? And I'm just like, you know what? No, fuck this. We're just not going to talk.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not a joke anymore.
it's really not. You know,
This isn't funny.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be funny.
No, see, the only time I ever get like that is when me and my martial arts buddies are watching the K1 Grand Prix, and then we're like, "All right, motherfucker." Like, no,
Yeah.
my guys win this. You know, and it's never going to be as unentertaining as that last entertainment abortion that was the Tyson monkey swat.
Yeah.
I mean, we did get
That was-
we did get a long
Tyson's ass
picture
out
of
of that whole
Tyson's
thing,
ass.
so-
Yeah.
I mean,
And honestly, that was the best
Yeah.
part of the fight.
it was the best part of the. It was just seeing the awkward look on.
We got plenty of good memes out of it. That's
You know,
for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I mean, in all justice, probably
Got the-
my favorite part of that fight was the look on the white guy's face when Tyson came in for the hook and then pulled it at the last second. You could
Uh-huh.
see the look of sheer terror on his face. He's like, "I almost."
Oh
died."
yeah.
because Tyson was going for that.
Oh, his life flashed before his
I'm
eyes.
getting a lot of money for this. I can't knock him out.
Yeah.
He's just lucky he remembered at the last second, like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to hit him.
I mean, if Logan Paul would have hit the mat, dude, if he would have hit the mat and took
That
a
would've-
long nap, you
Now,
would have
please
seen,
tell
you
me
would
that
have
I
seen
wasn't the
AT&T
only one
Stadium.
that realized, like, please tell I wasn't the only person that realized that within like 17 seconds of the first round that, oh, this is scripted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me
very-
wanted
The
to- part of me
fact
wanted
that
to
it
be
made 17 seconds into the first, that tells you.
part of me was like, please, Tyson, just flip the script on him. Be the killer that we remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was positive because if you remember, like not even a week before when they were showing Tyson's live training and preparation for that fight, I
Mhm.
was like, dude, if he punches Jake Paul in the chest, that man's going to explode.
Yeah,
It'll be
like a rotten grape.
anime scene.
Tyson's speed at over 50 years old, it was like light years ahead of where Paul was.
No, you know what it should have been. You know what it should have been. There's a scene in Dragon Ball Resurrection F where Goku hits Frieza hits Goku, and Goku just like takes it and he just kind of looks at Frieza. He does the 1-inch punch thing and it creates like a crater in Frieza's chest. That's what it should have been.
Right.
Yep.
I'm telling you, dude, I've
Exactly.
been doing karate for like 35 years. I'm a 5th degree black belt, and I would never. I don't care if Tyson's on a walker. I am not squaring up with that dude.
No.
Exactly.
I'm a lot of things. Stupid ain't one of them. Like that thing hits me, it would kill me and the rest of my bloodline.
Yeah, your predecessors would.
Yeah, it would destroy an entire generation.
I mean,
Yeah.
you would blink in, you'd see Morgan Stark sitting there asking you what it cost, and if you told her everything, was it worth it? You'd be like, no, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Even Morgan Freeman would not narrate that moment of my life.
He would have been like, it was at
Yeah.
that moment. Oh, you a stupid mother.
Normally, this is the part where I would say, "What have we learned?" But he's dead.
We learn.
You hear Merle Haggard come back from the grave going, them old Duke boys, how they gonna get out of this one? You know, like,
Waylon Jennings.
My wife would be like, "Make sure that his life insurance policy is current."
Waylon.
Right. Well, the life insurance policy probably wouldn't pay out because of reckless endangerment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't have.
Neglect is not a covered loss.
It's a talk with St. Peter. It's like, you know, you get up to the pearly gates and he's like, wait, you died how? Oh no, fucker, you are gone. Turn around and go back the way you
You're
came.
like, was there a gun to your head?
You don't even get to go to hell. You're too stupid for hell.
We're just gonna have you hang out here in the lobby. Just take a number.
Right, exactly.
Well, now they've got that other retired kickboxer that's trying to call him out. I forgot what his name is.
Colin McGregor. Or no, not
No,
Colin McGregor. It was
Tate. No, is it Tate?
Oh yeah. Tate. You know,
Yeah, I think he's been calling him out. He offered a $3 million purse to fight. He was like, "I'll take a couple of weeks off from my retired life to beat your fucking ass." And I was like,
And dude, there's no amount of contract that's going to stop him from beating his ass. Proper.
"Oh no.
you know, I would even go as far as to say if Conor McGregor decided to, you know, if we got the roided up version of Conor McGregor from Roadhouse, I would pay for that fight. You know, I mean, Conor McGregor loved the guy when he was at his prime, but the dude is a complete horse's ass now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when all you do is cocaine.
If
If you were allowed to fight, though, like if it's strictly a boxing match, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor's not going to win that.
What I would love to see is
But
Logan
if you
Paul.
actually go in the octagon,
Yeah. Well, I want to see Jake Paul. I want to see him step into the octagon.
yes.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
God, yes.
You know, I want to see Dana White promote this fight. You know, it'd be just a one-off main event kind of a deal. No whole, you know, I mean, just actual UFC rules being applied.
A
Never
15-year-old,
see it.
15-year-old boy with a legitimate purple belt in jiu-jitsu would put him in a hurt locker.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
look
Yeah.
what Conor
It-
McGregor
You're
did.
not
with
ever see
Cowboy.
him in the octagon because he
Look at-
knows.
Look at what Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Conor McGregor did to Cowboy. I mean, all he used was his shoulder, and he was out.
Oof.
Yeah. I went to go watch that fight, and I went to go get my food. And as soon as I got my food, I was like, "What do you mean it's over?"
well, it's like those guys back in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. You know, back when pay-per-view was like $100 or $150 a piece. You know, or you know for the whole event, and they paid for that Tyson fight that ended after the first punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well, I mean, it was. I mean, obviously, it was one of the signature knockouts of his career. But you want to talk about some pissed off fans? I mean, they're like, we paid $150 for the fucking pay per view. It's like they got no undercard fights. It was just the main event.
Yeah.
And the whole.
Are you familiar with a guy named Frank Dukes?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
He's a complete fraud who's been trying to convince the world that he's like super ultra secret superstar martial arts full contact Kumite winner. Well, Don the Dragon Wilson has been calling him out for years. He's like, "I will fight you any day, anytime, any place, under any rules, and I will fuck you up." And anybody who's familiar
not
with
what
Don the
you
Dragon
ever
Wilson
see.
knows that he's right. But
Yeah.
the guy Frank Dukes won't take on that challenge because,
That's why it doesn't happen because he knows.
stupid.
You
Oh, yeah.
want to talk about a charity fight that I would love to watch? And this would be great. In their current status, you know, their current age, whatever. Chuck Norris versus Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal will get his ass absolutely annihilated because that whatever he called that style of martial arts, it's not even grappling. I mean, it's all like Hollywood
Aikido?
choreographed. That's all.
The
it is.
Aikido.
The Aikido stuff. Well, like Aikido was it was really good like 400 years ago when it mattered. But yet now, no, God no.
Yeah, keto. What
You're not
was
facing a
keto
dude
was
with-
more or less used for swordsmen's, right?
Yeah,
against
exactly.
swordsmen,
It was used for the samurai or Ronin when they lost their weapon against someone who still had theirs.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
in
can you imagine the quality of Chuck Norris jokes that we would hear leading up to that fight?
Right?
I mean, just the psychological warfare factor alone. No, I mean, Steven
a
Seagal.
better matchup in terms of current status would be either Dolph Lundgren versus Steven Seagal or even Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No.
I would pay to see Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, because
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
God.
Here's the thing.
I mean, Jean-Claude Van Damme, are you serious right now? Jean-Claude Van Damme, even today.
No. Okay. Here's
Dude.
here's the thing with Steven Seagal. Most of his movies now, he has. If you notice all the the direct to TV movies that come out, they literally most of the time in the movie he's sitting down for a reason.
Dude, anytime he has to run or walk up and down stairs, he uses a stunt double.
Yeah, and I've always wondered why the stunt double's black.
And like 200 pounds lighter than he is.
Oh yeah. I mean, he can run
actually,
too.
Like, it is obvious that there is a stunt double. It's
You
not
remember
even
Steven Seagal had his reality show on A&E where he was like a deputy sheriff.
God, yes.
He was literally
He was a reserve deputy chief or something like that. Yeah.
If
Fucking
you really want to see,
stupid.
if you want to see Steven Seagal being disbelieved by a professional karate guy, get on YouTube and look up The Karate Nerd Meets Steven Seagal. As he goes to Dubai, this guy, his name is Jesse Enkamp, and he meets with Steven Seagal and he trains with Steven Seagal. And when Steven Seagal is talking and showing him things, you can see the look on Jesse's face where he's like, "This man's full of shit."
Yeah.
But
There's
you know,
two.
he has to be polite because he's getting paid.
What I'm hearing, Steven Seagal is the stolen valor poster child for martial arts.
Yes.
Okay.
He doesn't even know what countries he's from.
almost
Keeps changing.
He's almost as bad as Frank Dukes.
Yeah. There's two YouTube channels that just make fun of him so much. There's one called Space Ice, and he actually like goes through and does a review of all of his terrible, shitty movies. It's hilarious. That, and there's another one. It's called Sensei Seagal, and he just mocks him mercilessly. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I think McDojo Life has a couple of videos on it.
Yes, I've seen some of those. It's awesome.
It really is. It's like it's kind of like a train wreck. You want to look away, but then you're
What is
embarrassed.
that one guy? Michael J. White?
Yeah.
Oh, Michael J. White is legit. That
No, he's
Yeah, no, I know that. Like
he still makes terrible movies, but he's legit.
dude, some of his movies though,
yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Dude, some of the movie that he did with Steven Seagal, apparently the producers and directors of the movie were trying to set him up so that he could actually beat Steven Seagal's ass.
He did an interview about that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they were trying to set him up so that he could beat his fucking ass. Because apparently Steven Seagal was a bully on set, and he had hit somebody. And this interviewer is asking Michael J. White, he's like, "What would you have done if he did that to you?" And Michael J. White just kind of smiled and goes, "He wouldn't have done that to me."
Yeah.
And then he follows up with, "You know what would happen."
Dude, that was such a good interview because he just
Eat that motherfucker.
there wasn't any bluster behind it or anything. He just smiled, was like, "Nah, it'll never happen."
No.
Yeah, exactly. He was, but it was weird. Like, he was so polite and so professional with his answer, but you could see through it. Like, I was like, I wish I could.
Oh
talk.
yeah.
Like, the man is so good with his words.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, I've watched that guy train before. He's just unfreaking real.
And it's not like, I mean, and there's no bravado, like, at all.
No,
Right.
none. And have you ever seen a
very
video of him breaking the
to the
chain on
point.
that?
Yeah. I mean, he's that calm, cool, and collected guy that's about to, cut the wire and start sorting dudes out. That's the guy that you want to, like, be behind.
He has a wicked sense of humor too. Like, you saw Black Dynamite, and it was full force in that movie. That was fantastic.
Oh, I liked him in all the Never Back Down movies too.
Right?
You gotta watch his newest one, Outlaw Jesse Wells or something like that.
Oh, they did a remake of that?
No, he's a cowboy in this one.
No, it was
It only came out. It came out in like 2023.
Yeah, it's not Josie Wales, but it's something. Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's on Netflix or something.
They're gonna remake it, and Clint Eastwood's still alive.
That's no. That's one of those that can't be remade. You cannot remake
Dude,
Outlaw
if you
Josie
were to tell me 30 years ago that Clint Eastwood was going to be one of the greatest Hollywood movie writers, directors, and producers that we've ever seen, I would not have believed you.
Right.
Right.
And then I saw Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Gunny Highway's good.
Okay, it's called Outlaw Johnny Black.
Okay,
So
there we
we're
go.
Way off.
Yeah, I mean, to this day, I'm like, anytime Heartbreak Ridge, anytime Heartbreak Ridge comes on TV, or I
Dude,
see it
that's
like it's available on streaming or whatever, that's
automatic
that Band of
watch.
Brothers for me are the remote droppers,
Yep.
100%.
Oh,
And I'm looking at it, and like you know, with Band of Brothers, you know how like as vets, Chris especially, we're watching war movies and we're like, why the fuck did they do that? Like, that's not supposed to work like that, right?
Yeah.
You watch Band of Brothers and you're just like in awe, and you're comfortable, and you go into that element because they do everything accurately there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
some of the actors.
but watching Heartbreak Ridge, I'm sitting there going, no.
Oh God.
I
what
love
the
this
hell
movie.
are you thinking?
No.
Yeah.
The actors in Band of Brothers actually talked to the people they were portraying, or talked to somebody that was part of
talk
the
to
family and
family
everything.
members or talk
And
to
the actors literally said, "It's like, hey, my character wouldn't be doing this. He
Yeah.
wasn't there."
Yeah.
I mean, they went hard on historical on that one.
Yeah, and the guy that played Dick Winters, I mean, he and Richard, him and Colonel Winters, they became friends.
Yeah, they had him on set. Like he was there being like, no, it didn't happen like that. This guy was over here. This guy was over there.
And they took
Like,
his word like it was gospel because he was the one writing the after action reports.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, oh, so good. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you know, because like I know that there's people that, you know, they have their preference and they prefer the Pacific, but I'm like, I don't know, man. For me, it was Band of Brothers, dude.
And it wasn't like that's not to knock the Pacific at all.
No, absolutely.
But it didn't have that same feel. You didn't care about the characters as much as you did in Band of Brothers.
Yeah,
for some reason, it was just something about the quality difference between the two of them. You didn't have it. It was still a compelling story.
Yeah,
you still enjoyed everything, you know, but it didn't have that. I don't know, je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I was personally invested in Band of Brothers. I mean, because that was the 101st. That was my unit. So,
right.
You know, while I wasn't in the 506, you know, I was part of that division. And so, I mean, for me, I'm like, hell yeah, Screaming Eagles all day long. You know, I just wish that they'd have fucking won the Army Navy game wearing that jersey, but you know, oh well.
Right.
Dude, I gotta say, my grandfather was 101st. That's bad.
See, yeah,
yeah, he's my hero as a kid growing up. My grandfather, I used to tell people, dude, my grandfather was such a hero to me. I took him to school in the first grade for show and tell.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
And I made him I had him wear his dress. He put on his dress uniform for me. And he came into our first grade class. You think about being back in first grade. You know, 6 years old, terrified of your teacher. Yeah. It was that time. What was the last name? Back when we were still afraid of our teachers. And he was a racist motherfucker, you know, and he's from Tennessee.
I mean,
and he looked at all of his kids. He said, all right, boys and girls, gather around, have yourselves a little sit down. And he looked at me, and at this point in my life, he'd only ever called me by my name one time in my entire life. But beyond that, I was always either grandson or boy. And he looks at me and says, well, grandson, what are we here for today? And I said, I want you to tell us about Christmas. And he says, oh, I know what you're talking about.
Did he tell you about Bastogne? Please say he told you about Bastogne.
I don't know where it was, but he said, I'm going to tell you all a story about Christmas Day in Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Right before he starts, our teacher, her name was Miss Jurger, she says, Mr. Nichols, this isn't going to be appropriate for the kids. I don't think you should go any further. And he says, young lady, you real easy on the eyes, but your voice is irritating.
What was his last name?
He looked at it and says, all I need from you is to sit there, stay quiet, and look pretty. Can you do that? And he goes, no, and then he tells her, I would prefer you call me by my first name is Sergeant Major. He looked at all the
See, right there, I'm like, look at the grass so I don't walk on it. Like,
Yep.
what was his last name?
Immediately take your hands out of your pockets.
Nichols.
Nichols. Okay. Reason I'm asking.
So he says to us, he goes, well, on Christmas Day in Vietnam, we had us what's called a ceasefire. Now, ceasefire, boys and girls, an order from my commanding officer said I wasn't allowed to shoot nobody. So me and the boys are sitting around our campfire and they drinking their coffee, talking about the wife and the kids, and I missed mine. It made me kind of depressed. So I decided I was going to go out on patrol by myself. Now, patrol, boys and girls, is when you go out for a walk in the woods and you're looking for a bad man named Charlie. He says, while I was on my walk out in the woods, I come across a downpour, had 3 Charlie bathing in it. Now, downpour, boys and girls, a natural waterfall. And I remember watching Charlie and that damn there downpour thinking to myself, well, hell, it's a season for giving. So I proceeded to remove 3 fragmentary hand grenades from my ammo belt. I pulled the pins and I left Charlie a season's greetings from Uncle Sam. Now, are there any questions? And one of the kids had asked the question. He says, yes, sir. His kid says, well, what happened next? He says, what do you mean what happened? They blew it up. And his kid says, but you said you weren't allowed to kill anybody. He said, no, sir, I did not. My order said I was not allowed to shoot nobody. So then he stands. He put his foot on my desk and he pulled his pant legs up and unbloused them to show us a scar in his calf from where he shot. And he points and he goes, all right, boys and girls, look here. This right chong looks like a scar might be left from projectile fired out of an AK-47. Now, on my body and 4 other places, I got to take off too much uniform to show y'all. I have 4 more scars look just like this one right chong. Now, at my house, above my fireplace mantle, I have 5 AK-47s. What is that, boys and girls? That's dedication.
Like,
Needless to say,
That's
no
awesome.
one was able to top my show and tell.
see, for me, I love that story. I love that story. When I go out in public and, you see those old timers wearing the veteran hats or whatever, right? I was in HEB the other day and I'm with my wife and I'm like, I just want to get out of the store. And we walk past this old guy wearing a Vietnam veterans 101st Airborne Division hat, right? I was like, go get what you need out of this aisle. I'll catch up with you. And she's like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go talk to that old guy. She's like, oh, God. So, and I was like, I put my hand on his shoulder. I was like, sir, what unit were you with? And he's just like, first or 2nd Battalion 506. And I was like, I was 2nd 327, no slack, sir. And he smiles, dude. And like that crusty old man facade just melted away. And he just smiled. And he just reached out, shook my hand, sat there and talked to each other for like, had to have been 10, 15 minutes. It was the coolest conversation ever. I love doing stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, come on now.
See, I'm fortunate where I work. I work in a cardiology clinic, so I'm constantly doing what we call nuclear stress tests on people's hearts. Yeah. So the vast majority of my patients are old retired military veterans. So every time they come in and I talk to them, I always ask them, what branch service were you in? And anytime they say something other than Navy, I say, well, nobody's perfect, unless they say they were in the Navy, and then to which I say, you poor bastard. But, it's just part of my banter. And I'll always ask them what unit they were with, what they did. It's just something I get to take care of my brothers and sisters that wore the uniform. Oh, it's such a good feeling. I love that job. Yeah. It's an amazing thing. I just wish I could sit down and just talk with these guys for hours and just hear their stories.
And that's the thing, too. Like these old timers, the more of these old timers we lose, I mean, that's a vital part of our history, our oral history that we're not going to ever get back.
Well, I mean, that, and never mind the fact these were the baddest, most professional and dangerous men that our country has ever produced.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, we got some. I'm not going to take away from what we got now. We got some bad man pajamas out there, but like for guys back in that day and age, there was far more of them. They were next level.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys that are confused about what's happening. You got 18, 19-year-olds now that I mean, they don't even qualify as human beings right now. And you look at, when they were serving our country, they're 18, 19, 20 years old. These were giants.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you go back as far, you go back to World War II. You got these guys. They served. They're storming beachheads. They're jumping out of planes for the first time in modern warfare. They're creating brand new SOPs that are still practiced today. Like Dick Winters, when they landed in Normandy, they stormed that artillery position. The way that he just on the fly created that attack, that is SOP army wide. That is the way it is done today.
Man.
And it's like you got to carry. It's amazing that the aircraft back in the day had enough, horsepower to produce the lift to carry these guys these guys with their nuts into battle. And I'm like, anytime anytime I see a guy, from World War II on up, I take the time to just walk up to him and say, welcome home, brother. Especially the guys from Vietnam, like, welcome home, brother.
Because they didn't get that back then.
Oh, absolutely not. It's fashionable to do it now, but back then, no. When my dad said that when he came home from Vietnam, there was no ticker tape parade. There was no welcoming committee. Well, he walked off the boat. Took leave, signed out on leave, came home. There was everybody was like, hey, welcome home. He said he walked into my great grandmother's house, and this is back when my great grandfather was alive. He served in the European theater during World War II. They didn't exchange a single word. They just looked at each other, and my great grandfather nodded his head, and that was all. That's all they said. And I'm, my dad said that Sunday he got yelled at for not going to church because he had a sleeveless T-shirt. He went out in the front yard, sat under a tree, opened his Bible up, and lit a cigarette. That was him going to church on Sunday, and I'm like, that's ball right there. But
well, to each his own.
Like, yeah, get it. But well, let's see. I'm looking at the time. We're past the hour 10 mark. We're trying to keep this under 2 hours. Dude, we could talk for literally hours. And as a matter of fact, David, work it out with him. We can do a what the hell with him. Just sitting down, just shooting the shit and chewing the fat. So work that out behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But dude, we definitely want to have you back on for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time to come in and sit down with us and just get way wildly off into the weeds, which is not uncommon for us, but we appreciate you coming into it.
That's our bread and butter.
It was my pleasure and my at the end.
All right, Jason. I'll talk to you later. I love you, man.
All right, love you, bro. Be good.
Next year, go Army, beat Navy. Hang up on him, David.
Right over, we're down.
Vikings.
Yeah.
It's Vikings 3, Rams 23.
Yeah, no, it's at the high. Okay, so we're going to move on to the NFL. Thank you for going on that journey with us, everybody. Right now, the playoff game that's occurring in Arizona, where the LA Rams are supposed to be the home team, they're currently beating the Minnesota Vikings 24-3. That is at the half. There is still a whole half of football left, so anything can still happen, but it's not looking good.
Do
Vikings
have injured players?
No, they're just. I don't know what's going on. I can't even begin. I can't even begin to venture what's going on there. So that's above my pay grade, honestly. Okay, so we are going to start with our picks. The first game of the weekend, this past weekend, was Saturday. I tried to get tickets for that game so bad, and I'm like, damn it, I couldn't do it. So it is what it is. It was the Los Angeles Chargers. See, I almost called them San Diego again. It was the Chargers coming to Houston to visit the Texans, who got to host a playoff game this year due to the fact that they were division winners. We all picked Houston unanimously. It was a Houston pick. A lot of the experts and a lot of the pundits, to include ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS, they all picked San Diego. Or I mean, so I did it again. They all picked the Chargers to win this game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to keep calling them San Diego even harder now. The Chargers were heavy favorites in this game, and that was due to the play and the depth of the injuries that Houston had going on, specifically on defense. And they were expecting Jim Harbaugh to come in there with Justin Herbert and just absolutely light up Houston, and not in a good way. Well, for the first half, it was looking pretty iffy for the Houston offense, but the defense played their asses off. I mean, they saved this game for the Texans. The Texans walked away with this game in the second half, winning 32-12. One of my favorite plays in the game was when they blocked that point after try and ran it all the way back for 2 points. That was a great play. Man, the level of enthusiasm coming out of NRG Stadium was huge. I mean, I live an hour away from the stadium, and I'd swear you could almost hear it. Yeah, I mean, it was that palpable. I mean, the enthusiasm and the support that from the area behind this particular team is off the charts. And it's kind of cool to see. And I'm guilty. I'm kind of drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit here, but it's I mean, it was a great game to watch, especially with that muff snap. That, I mean, they were back on their own 15-yard line or something like that. CJ Stroud, he gathered it up and he absolutely saved that drive and threw it midfield. They caught it for a first down. Around like the 40-yard line? Mm-hmm. Like, you want to talk about that? I think that play right there turned it around for the Houston offense. I mean, and they finally started to, just absolutely wear down the Charger defense. And what's funny is that, the Chargers, they put a lot of bulletin board material up for the Texans. They really did. I mean, going on social media, a lot of their players, their coaching staff, they were like, yeah, we're treating this like it's a bye week. We're going to breeze through Houston like it's nothing. Right. I mean, they were pretty damn sure of themselves. And then after the game on Saturday, Joe Mixon was on Instagram Live from the locker room, toking on a cigar. He was like, yeah, bye week, right? Yeah, we kept the receipts. I'm like, dude, yeah. And I mean, what's fun is to see DeMeco Ryans. He's a former defensive player, a former linebacker for the Houston Texans. And he just absolutely, just watching the special teams coach sprint down the sidelines. I mean, just pure, unadulterated, raw emotion coming out of these grown-ass men, watching this thing that they've tried to cultivate and build over the course of the last season or two, and it's just all starting to come to fruition. And I'm just like, I'm excited about it. And, I'm buying into the system, and it's something that's just really cool and really fun to watch. And I'm telling you that light doesn't work anymore. People still come up to the door. I'm telling you, I love my wife.
The predictions for the Chargers Texans game was 27 Chargers and 17 Texans.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well. The Chargers didn't even score enough points to make the spread on what Houston was going to be allowed.
Could you imagine how much money you would make just by doing the spread? Dude. I'm telling. I mean, listening to the local news stations, the local radio stations around town or in the area down here, it's always been, the Texans are doing okay, blah blah blah. I mean, they were always like a backstory. Yeah, and
it's always been, it's not even the Rockets, right? Because I mean, the Rockets haven't been relevant for a few years now. It's basically been predominantly the Houston Astros town, right?
Yeah.
But you listen to the talk now, and it's like, okay, people see that championship window with Houston, the Astros starting to close, And then they start paying attention to the Texans, and they're like, we're excited about this club. We're excited about this team. We're seeing, we're really happy about the direction this franchise is trying to go. And, I'm on board with it. I am. I mean, I've got, I ordered a Josh Allen jersey. I ordered a CJ Stroud jersey, and I ordered my my Army jersey. They should be coming in the next couple of weeks. But, I'm just like, my sister-in-law was like, so is it official you've become a Texans fan? And my wife was like, yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's hard not to when you're exposed to it down there, though.
It is, and I catch myself, especially during baseball season, paying attention to the Astros, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I mean, the Astros are my JV team, right? But I mean, through and through, I'm a Red Sox guy. I mean, unabashedly, hello, right? So, but I don't know. I made the joke that when I got married to my wife, that I kind of became a Cowboys fan by default, which is really kind of true, But I'm sitting there going, I'm like, man, no, I can't. I mean, give me something to cheer for. And I know that makes me sound like a fair weather fan, and if it does, then it does. But the fact of the matter is that you see the Texans as an organization trying to actively better themselves, as opposed to Uncle Rico trying to reclaim his glory days as a high school quarterback. I mean, that's just what it kind of feels like. It's two different ends of the spectrum here in the state of Texas when you're talking about professional football. And I'm like, I don't know. But to your point, Chris, it is hard when you're exposed to it all the time. But for the longest time, though, I felt like I was kind of immune to it, because I've been quoted on this show months and months, actually last year, even. No, not last year. Two seasons ago. Talking about how it pleases me nothing pleases me more than to see the Houston sports complex just kind of burn to the ground and people lose their minds. But it could be worse. I mean, I could be exposed on a daily basis to the Philadelphia trash,
Yeah.
And I'm never going to buy into that. I mean, I'll be that guy cutting the wire and trying to get out of Jonestown, but.
And I'm saying this as a Cowboys fan. I'm not saying our fans are much better, but just because I like the team does not mean I like the fans.
Yeah.
I still can't stand
Red Sox fans are notorious for being blatant racists and just absolute dickheads.
Yeah.
So don't get me sideways there. All right.
Right.
But moving on, we all picked Baltimore to beat the Steelers. That one went pretty well, 28-14.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that picked Denver to upset the Buffalo Bills.
Oh God, really?
Yeah. A lot of people. And I'm sitting there going, are you sure about that? Are you really sure about that?
Listen to me.
No, you were not.
It's not. No. I know I wasn't. What I'm saying is that they had the things to do. They had the right things to put up a better fight and potentially maybe win by like a point.
Listen, what happened?
But they didn't do it.
What I want to explain what Colin is trying to say. Venus and Mars were in adjacent to each other, too close, and the moon came in and put it just right to stop the mystical energy, to give the Denver Broncos the power.
Spoken to the angry faithful out there, Josh Allen's give a fuck was in retrograde.
There you go.
Okay. So the Buffalo Bills took care of business. They stood up on that business 31-7. Bo Nix, do not get me wrong. People do not sleep on this guy.
Oh,
do not sleep on him at all. He is going to be a very good quarterback, and he's going to be in Denver for his career. They are doing amazing things to make that organization better. Denver is going to become a scary tour de force very, very soon.
Yeah.
They're missing just maybe 2, maybe 3 pieces to regain that kind of that dominance that they had
I honestly
during the Elway years, during the Manning years. I mean, they're missing just 2 or 3 pieces, and they're almost there.
maybe not missing the pieces, but meaning maybe a little fine tuning.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't hire Mike McCarthy for any kind of coordinator job, I think it'll be okay. And we're going to get to that in just a second, so don't jump the shark on us here.
Yeah.
The next game up, we had the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Green Bay Packers. I know your boy was like Green Bay all day.
Yeah, Mike probably was like, no. And
I mean,
afterwards in the shower,
stick your cheese head in a grater, bro. Because I mean,
yeah,
make your tea times now. I'm just letting you know. Okay. Or maybe this is going to be like a new tradition for Packer fans, where after they make an early exit from the playoffs, they go hiding in a dark hole like Aaron Rodgers did during the offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, did the Packers fan see a shadow? Oh, it's an early exit from the playoffs again this year. Now this next game, I'm going to give the Xhaka his props. He was the only one to pick the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
And it took the doink of destiny. That is what I'm coining that kick, the doink of destiny, to push the Commanders over the top and get them past the number 3 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers and the Commanders both had ample opportunities in this game to walk away with the victory by a very large margin. However, the defenses stood up, and the very sloppy play of both offenses really made this more of a shootout than it should have been. But 23-20 was the victory on that one. And when I say 3 points is as good as 3,000 points, we're talking about the tilt of the earth and the magnetic fields lined up just properly. Somebody somewhere, there was a mouse fart on the western coast of Africa, and it created just the right amount of breeze that hit that football at the exact moment that it needed to hit it, to make it hit the inside portion of that upright and bounce in. So that's the story I'm going with right there. Yeah. And it's better to be lucky than to be good sometimes, but hey, that young rookie, he's first rookie to win a road playoff game in the NFL. So good on him. He's going to be a good quarterback for a very, very long time. Congratulations to Dan Quinn. I know that Cowboys Nation is just absolutely chomping at the bit right now because we let a good guy go last year. So there's that. Currently, Minnesota does have the ball to start the second half. So we'll keep an eye on that game. We all have Minnesota picked to win that one. There needs to be some big adjustments that had to have been made during that time. 100%.
I'm look.
They only have 2 out.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I know they're not going to win against Detroit, but I want to see the rematch, the third rematch.
Yeah, I mean that would be nice, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. Let me get into the next page here. We're gonna go there.
This is gonna be kind of easy to do this week.
Yeah. Let me do this here.
We can only really do 3 games because they haven't.
No, well, we can.
Here's what we can do. As far as the game against the Eagles in Philadelphia, we can make that pick.
We can do the picks tomorrow for that last one.
Yeah, for that last one. So as far as that is concerned, I'll wait till the results. I'll text everybody and find out what your decision is as far as who's going to win that game. I think far and away we're probably looking at the Eagles walking away with that game anyway, just because Saquon Barkley has never been this far in the playoffs. He's never seen the playoffs before, and he wants to go as far as he can for as long as he can.
Yeah.
But let me.
Some of these are going to be emotional picks.
They trust me. Yeah, I know. I see it coming already. All right.
I have full faith in all my picks. No emotional picks this week for me.
Okay.
What's taking so long?
Okay. What do you mean? What's taking so long? I've got to get, dude. It takes the same amount of time every week. Fucking pump the brakes there. Dan.
Oh, okay, yeah. You get your okay.
All right. So, first game up, we've got the Texans going to Kansas City. Coming off of this emotionally charged victory by the Texans over the Chargers this past Saturday, knowing that the Texans are being counted out 100% every week, every step of the way. They feel like they still have something to prove because of the way that they kind of ended the season on kind of a mid note. And especially with the way that defense proved that they can step up and they can play with the pass rush, the secondary playing the way that it was playing on Saturday. I fully expect those edge rushers to be giving the offensive line of Kansas City more than it's worth. I do not think it's not so much the fact that the Texans are going to be playing against the Chiefs. I think the Texans need to come into this game. The key to their victory is to put on such a convincing, performance. You're going to see their penalties. Okay. They're going to get their false starts. What is it? Tanay? The most heavily penalized offensive lineman in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
He's going to get his offense. He's going to get his false starts. You're going to see the occasional holding call. You might get some pass interference calls that are very, very questionable. Do not get me wrong. The refs will be out in force next week. Okay.
No.
However, I firmly believe that the Texans have the wherewithal. They have the pedigree within them, up and down that roster to show up in the 20-degree forecasted weather at Arrowhead, listening to all the talk going on. I mean, I'm even listening to Scott Van Pelt this evening doing the pregame before tonight's game. He called next week's game the Arrowhead Invitational. I mean, you want to talk about the level of blatant disrespect that the national media is giving the Houston Texans, because they believe that this team does not belong in the place that they are. They all picked the Los Angeles Chargers to walk away with that game last week. They were wrong. The entire national media as a whole had to wear egg on their face. And we're not talking about good over easy. We're talking about that runny, undercooked egg that was spoiled like by a week and a half. Okay. Not a good look. All right. It's time. I think that the Houston Texans are going to take this game. That is going to be my pick, because I think that even with the extra time off, okay, that gave Kansas City the opportunity to heal up. And I know that there's going to be those people out there that are going to be like, well, Angry Me doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Kansas City all day, yak, yak, yak. Look, the time for the Fellatio Fest for Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, that's got to come to an end this year. Okay. There will be no three-peat. I'm picking Houston to win.
So am I, and all I'm going to say is, with CJ Stroud, he's coming and he's going to be pissed. He's going to be riled up, and he's going to do what it takes.
Yeah, because remember back week 16, Houston played Kansas City, lost by 8 points. This is a Kansas City Chiefs team that has yet to score more than 30 points this year. You want to talk about they winning games on talent alone? No. I mean, they've been catching some incredibly huge breaks. You can't go through a single season in the NFL, score less than 30 points a game, and have the record and the seeding that they've got without help. I'm sorry.
Make note that last time they played, they lost one of their receivers, and CJ Stroud's coming for that revenge against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very emotionally charged game, a very motivation very heavily motivation laden game for the Texans as a whole. But that's I'm picking Houston to take that win.
Yeah, same. So
I can agree with that.
Yeah. What about you, David?
Of course, I'm going to take Houston. Okay, Kansas City. Okay, if we take out the last game they played, okay, and you see the other couple of games for last part of the month they played,
Mhm.
they started playing dog shit. And the last game was their second string because they wanted to buy a week. They knew they can handle the loss, no big deal. The rest of the games, they barely made it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
say
they
the
clinched-
first
they
half of the
clinched the playoff
season
berth.
team.
Yeah, they clinched a playoff berth just by clinching their division, early on. I mean, not early on, but like I think it was like week 15 or something like that, week 16, 17. They clinched the division. They could take the foot off the pedal when they went into, they rolled into Nashville to play the Titans. I mean, and you saw it even during that game, the intensity and just the execution started to ramp itself up over the course of that game. Yeah, it was a rivalry game. Yeah, it was a matter of respect. Like, you're going to wear the uniforms from the city that you left, and you're going to try to, okay, that's how you woke up and chose violence this morning. Okay, and let me introduce you to the next chapter. But the way that the Texans, after they made their adjustments offensively in the first half, you saw it over the course of the season. The second half was kind of it was really kind of the Texans' worst enemy in the second half. I mean, they had at one point gone on a scoring drought in the second half. I mean, they did all their scoring in the first half, and then they just kind of let their defense do what it needed to do in the second half. And then as the year started to wrap up, they start wind down, head toward the playoffs, you saw the second half really became what it needed to be all season, which was that half of adjustments from the first half. And they really cleaned up the way that they played over the course of the game. And you saw the execution start to come together towards the tail end. Yeah, they could have had a stronger showing over the last couple of weeks of the season. But
Well,
for me, especially with the Baltimore game, when they got embarrassed on Christmas Day, okay, they said to a man, that was an embarrassment, and it was a wake-up call for us. It humbled us, and it caused us to look back in on ourselves and focus on the fundamentals. And so even though I turned that game off because I was like, I can't, the beating that they were getting coupled with the Beyonce Bowl at halftime, I had no interest in watching the rest of that game because I'm like, okay, I don't need to see the beating that they're going to take to know that they're going to come back stronger from this, because sometimes, just like today's generation, you need a punch in the mouth to make you realize where you rank in the pecking order. So they needed to take that beat down from the Ravens, at the behest of Roger Goodell to help, Lamar Jackson build his, pad his stats for the season. But I was just, seeing the adjustments that they made from that game to the next game. I mean, yeah, that was 2 losses in a row, Baltimore and then Kansas City. But you look at the play that they put, from the time or the level of intensity and the professionalism of execution that they demonstrated during the Baltimore game on Christmas Day versus the game in Kansas City. I mean, they gave Kansas City a run for their money.
okay.
Absolutely. And they're going to make those adjustments.
Here's the thing, okay, and I had to look this up because I was wondering. Okay, the game that the Chiefs played against the Texans this year, it went to overtime, so they pushed them to the fucking limit.
Yeah, they did.
They were there.
Yeah.
So it was
decided by a field goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, it was a touchdown.
No, yeah, it was a touchdown. That's right. It was a touchdown.
But I think Houston has the tenacity to actually go into Kansas City and beat the shit out.
Because that will be the third time that they've seen the Chiefs. Or no, it'll be the second time they've seen the Chiefs this year.
Because they have the offense, obviously. It's just their defense. Their defense needs to stay where it needs to be the entire game, because they can't be pulling in that crap where it's like they come in at second quarter, or no, they lose what they had in the first quarter in the second quarter. And just drop everything. They need to stick the entire game.
I had to go to AT&T today to handle some business. But the guy that I talked to, the guy that helped me out, we talked a little bit there, told him about the show. So if you're listening tonight, welcome. He's obviously he's a lifelong Chiefs fan, everything like that. And I was just like, man, no, it's like no, it's not looking good. So, but yeah, so we can all agree Houston's going to take that game. Is it an emotional pick? Yes. There is definitely some emotion there, but I'm looking at it from the I'm looking at it from the analytical point.
Yeah, there's plenty of reason behind it too, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right.
Well, his last four, a lot of these last four is going to be emotional picks, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these we're not going to pick the other team only because we don't like them all that great.
Right. Now the next game on the docket, it's also a Saturday game. It's going to be a nighttime game, 7:00. It's going to be on Fox.
I'm definitely watching this game. I'm going to find a place and I'm going to watch this game. I don't care if I have to dress up. I will.
But it's going to be the Washington Commanders going into Ford Field to play the number 1 seed Detroit Lions.
It's going to be a mass. I'm going to say it right now. It's going to be a massacre. Detroit Lions are going to go in there and like, we got to get this.
They're
going Washington.
No, they're going to put up 40 plus points. Don't get me wrong. They will. They'll put up 41 plus. They'll put up 40 plus. However, I think that the Detroit defense is going to underestimate the Washington offense. Washington, it's going to be
hold
on. It's going to be a 42-35 Detroit.
Okay, the reason why Detroit's defense hasn't been playing all that well is because a lot of their players have actually been out.
Yeah, they've been injured just like Houston has. Yeah, no, I understand completely where you're going with this.
What you saw last weekend, or not last weekend, the weekend beforehand, is what they were doing just in case. They were switching the defense like it was a rope.
And they're going to have to do that this weekend. But Detroit's going to come out on top on this one.
I think they already got the plan, and I already think it's going to work.
Yeah, Detroit's got the game plan in place. They are practicing as we speak. Okay, but I think that Detroit's defense, is going to be susceptible to the Washington offense.
I think you're a little delusional on this one.
I see two things happening. Either what Dad said, and they underestimate Washington a little bit, because
it may not be a touchdown difference. It may be 14 points, but Washington's going to put up way more points than a lot of people are going to give them credit for.
Okay. I still don't see it.
Okay, either
I see Washington doing good, but I don't see him doing that.
Yeah, okay, so either
with the Vikings was actually a good team. They're a good team this year, and I don't know what happened in the last couple of. I mean, even the game tonight, I don't know what is happening with that.
Yeah, it's 3-24 right now.
Yeah,
it's not pretty, but I mean, it just goes to show, and it looks like LA is in the red zone again, but it just goes to show. I mean,
two things can happen: either Detroit underestimates Washington, and it's a close score game, or Detroit absolutely curb stomps Washington.
It's not going to be the Doc Martin dental plan. And for those of you kids who don't understand what that means, look it up on the Urban Dictionary. It's not going to be a curb stomp, but I mean, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, David, for in favor of your argument. It's going to be a 14-point difference, but Washington's going to put up more points than people are going to realize. I mean, they're going to score. They'll score at least 21 points. How about that? They'll put up 3 scores.
All right. Well, we'll go through the point spread. We don't go to the point spread.
And
Detroit.
And the only reason why I'm talking about points is because it's the playoffs, and it's the playoffs. So you get this far, you got this far for a reason. And so
I'm still
I know what the Vegas line says. I know what it says.
Yeah.
I know what the point spread is. I know what they're giving them. I know what the expectations are. I'm just telling you, based on the national media's predictions over the last weekend, I mean, somebody's going to lose a lot of money this weekend.
Oh yeah, that is definitely true.
Okay. Let me see here. So we're all picking Detroit on that one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. This next game, we're going to put a hold on it because of the fact that we don't know who. Well, at this point, let's just go ahead and say it's going to be the Rams.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, we might as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be LA. I'm taking Philadelphia in this one, just because. Well,
yeah.
Let me finish. Okay. I trust me. Saying that Philadelphia is going to advance to a championship game leaves a bad taste in my mouth, like Bill Clinton did for Monica Lewinsky. Believe me, it's not a good feeling. Okay. But the Eagles, they're the number 2 seed for a reason. Unless they just show up and have an absolute 2023 meltdown, I don't see the Rams beating the Eagles next weekend. I don't.
No, not really.
I mean, the Eagles are going to advance to the NFC Championship game, and it's going to be Detroit. It's going to be the number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed for the NFC, 100%.
I mean, yeah, Bakley, he's gonna be a key factor in the way.
Oh, Saquon Barkley, yeah.
Yeah, how you say his name?
Yeah,
he's gonna be a key factor into how this game turns out, 100%. I mean, it's.
So, what about you, David? You taking Philadelphia or LA? Because barring a meltdown by the Rams in the fourth quarter, I mean, I don't see the Vikings coming back on this one. If the unlikely happened here,
I go Philadelphia.
Yeah, if the unlikely happens and we have to revise the pick because the Vikings advance,
yeah,
then we can revisit that in the text and we can update the posting. But yeah, as of right now, yeah,
they just won 3. They just.
I mean, it hurts seeing the Vikings suck.
It really
this bad
does
here
because
now.
they were actually. I was amazed this year.
I was happy. I was happy. I liked
with the fight that they put up for the season finale game against the Lions. At least for 3/4 of that game. In hindsight, their fourth quarter performance against Detroit was like your heavy textbook foreshadowing. Sad to say.
I mean,
yeah,
kind of, but like it's a shame because like they were doing so good throughout this season, and now it's just
Vikings
like
fans there's no reason to hang your head in the sand here, or to hang your head low. Okay, get back in your long boats, come back for another raid, another day. Fight, right? Skull, or so it is. But the Vikings had an amazing season. Don't get us wrong. They had an amazing season. But I just, for whatever reason, I don't know if I don't think that the change of venue had anything to do with it. If anything, them playing at a neutral site, so to speak, in Arizona this week, because of the wildfires out in California, made it a more friendly environment because you've got now an equal distribution of Viking fans and Rams fans there at the stadium. But it just, I don't know. Jet lag,
yeah.
Mercury retrograde, something. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the water up there in Minnesota. Maybe they didn't pressurize the cabin in the aircraft properly. I don't know, but
yeah,
the Vikings just aren't. They're not the ones that this week. So,
man, it was one of the reasons why I think such a shame is because the way they were looking for a good while was that they were gonna make it a lot further than how we're looking at right now.
So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna kind of get this going here so we can wrap it up. Chris, you're taking Philadelphia?
Yep.
Okay, Collins, Philadelphia.
I don't like it, but I'll take it.
Yep. All right. Lastly, we've got the Ravens at the Bills. I'm thinking that the Bills are going to take this one. It is going to be a shootout. Do not get me wrong. Lamar Jackson is a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely.
Both are accustomed to playing in adverse weather. It's going to be cold as shit. If it's going to be snowy,
it's going to be snowy.
Yeah, it's definitely
that way
that heavily favors Buffalo. the snow is definitely going to be, a work in the favor of Buffalo at that point. But I think Josh Allen, he's going to put to rumors put to rest these rumors that Lamar Jackson somehow is the better candidate for the MVP. I think it's Josh Allen's MVP award to lose. Now, all that is settled in the regular season. The playoffs don't reflect in the final vote, but this is one of the marquee matchups that everybody's been chomping the bit for since the beginning of the season. They've been wanting to see this in the playoffs. I think the Bills are going to advance to the NFC Championship game against Houston.
I think the Bills
Buffalo across the board.
Yep.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. Let me get that saved, and then I'm going to go over here real quick. Colin. Oh, well, before we go into your segment real quick, some news. The Cowboys, it's reported, mutually agreed to part ways with head coach Mike McCarthy.
Let's like that. Mutually agreed. That's funny.
Yeah. It's not you, it's us. No, it's me too. Like, no, it was all you. It was all you, fat boy.
Well, he stopped being a yes man for Jerry, and Jerry can't have that.
Well, I like the fact that he stopped being a yes man for Jerry, but Mike McCarthy he
was an awful coach,
dude. It was bad.
But if he was being a yes man for Jerry, he would still be there, even as bad as he is.
This is true. Yeah. Let's hope that the rumors that Elon Musk has put in an offer to buy the Cowboys from the that would be great.
Actually, there's actually a thing that Elon Musk might buy TikTok.
No, it's Donald Trump and Tom O'Leary from the Shark Tank.
Okay.
Have offered to go in and buy TikTok. So
there's so much speculation and everything, but we need to we need to wrap this up so we can either we get the clips from doing it this way.
I'm working on it. All right.
No, I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah.
I might.
All right. You ready to go?
You're
all right.
Rising from the smoke and haze of desolation comes a Spartan. He is bent on wronging that which has been set right. It's the greatest genetic code ever to exist here for your ears and eyes to feast upon. Spartan Colin, I hope you're bringing the smoke tonight. Someone get me a joke.
Why don't they teach driver's ed and sex ed on the same day in the Middle East? So it wears out the camel.
Nice.
How do New Zealanders find their sheep in tall grass? Irresistible.
That's a good one.
That's all.
Okay. Through the fog of war, this Spartan continues the fight. Your souls have become collateral damage in the battle against the flood of moral supremacy. Leave your expectations at the door on your way out and marvel before the pillar of tactical prowess. Ladies and gentlemen, angry faithful of all ages, this has been Joke Time with Colin.
Well, with that being said, we are going to get it in just under the wire. We thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
We got one last thing.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We got one last thing. Chris, take it away.
So we mentioned with the beginning of the football season that we were going to do a charity giveaway at the end of the season. So it is now my distinct pleasure to bring up the 3 candidates that we had for that. First one is a group called Hunter 7. They do a lot of good work with cancer research, actually, for combat vets. They've kind of led the way on some of the burn pit legislation that has come through. They're doing a lot of not only for cancer treatment, but for research into different cancers that keep popping up in various combat zones. So they're looking at the cause of those and what can be done from a military standpoint to prevent that in the future. So great people there. Full disclosure, I've had workings with them in the past with my old job, but they are a great group over there. Second one I had was a group called Warriors Heart. They're actually based here in Bandera, just down the road from San Antonio. They do treatment, inpatient treatment for veterans with substance abuse problems. Do a lot of good work there, and they are it's only for treatment. Inpatient treatment is only for veterans. So, and we know that's, in the veteran community, self-medication is a massive problem, and they're doing their best to combat that. And the final group that I have, I'm bringing them up, and I want to do, just for full disclosure, I have actually benefited from this group, and I still do work with them today. So I'm kind of recusing myself in any decision making based on that alone. But it's a group called Real Warriors. They do fishing excursions for veterans, and this more of a camaraderie. So it's not necessarily a combating a problem, other than the kind of the mental health aspect of things.
To jump in there real quick, the camaraderie part of it, that is a huge asset.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, because when I lived in Wichita Falls, I was co-founder of the Rucking Club that was up there, or that's up there. Just the muscle memory of being around those types of people that speak the same language, it does volumes of good. It does more good than you might realize.
Yeah, these guys have, and like I said, they took me out on an excursion in Corpus, and actually went my very first deep sea fishing, which was awesome, and I would love to be able to get back out there and do it again.
Yeah,
but they do. Like I said, the owner just moved here to Texas now a few years ago, and they still have a chapter that kind of works out in San Diego as well. So a lot of good fishing opportunities. They're looking to expand all the time as well, and great group. Okay. So those are my three picks, and like I said, those are all they've been vetted. They are doing fantastic work. Believe I want to say something like 90 to 95% of the proceeds go to actually the programs. It's not one of those where the owner, the CEOs and presidents are all making 106 figures plus. Like a lot of these are volunteer driven.
Your actual 501(c)s, yeah. Chris, what I suggest, and what I would nominate is for you to be the POC on this. My vote is for Real Warriors, honestly.
I thought we were going to split it up, since we're only showing 3 and just give them $100 to each.
Well, I feel like we'd make a better impact if we keep it all in one.
Yeah, if we do that. So my vote is to go to Real Warriors, and if Chris, if you'll reach out to them,
sure,
find out if they can be on the show next week, just to kind of, so we can talk to them, and we can get their link out. And
even if I'm not able to get Joey, I actually one of my coworkers now that worked with me in my previous job, and is working with me now. Where he just started. We're on the same team now with the current company. I absolutely can reach out to him and get something scheduled. And like I said, if we're not able to get Joey on there, then at least I could get Trey on.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so we're wrapping this up, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. 195 episodes in the can now. Yes, I know phrasing is a thing still, but from the bottom of our very blackened hearts, thank you so much for including us into your weekly routine. Whether you listen to us live or on delay, whatever. We thank you immensely. Let's get those engagement numbers up. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, whatever, get the word out, spread it, have your people listen to us, whatever. With that being said, Nerd Sports 195. I am Lord Johnny Skelton.
I'm David Ackerman.
I am Chris Mountain Man Jacka.
I'm Prince Colin Skelton.
And in the immortal words of the lesbian pirate Bearded Clam, scissor me timbers.